Hey guys, so this is going to be a quick response to some of my hate comments. The person I talked about in the Pose Law video has continued to say a lot of very funny things at this point. I think that she is not a troll because she has just been way too persistent to be a troll. She's a completely different situation, so I am going to do a completely different video on her later. So these comments are from different people than her. So this is a response to my video on Miles Chronicles. I want to stab you, please. Okay. And then there's this person who claims to be a crusader for trans people, but then also tries to misgender me in really funny ways. You hate trans people who aren't like you. You're an awful young lady. And then this, from the same person, Matthew C. is an annoying little girl who tries her hardest to sound intellectual. This internalized transphobia, though, again from the same person. I love how these people, whenever they come across trans people they don't agree with, it just internalized transphobia. That's all it is. I hate how you say that gender is scientific, because it's not. Gender's a social construct, you idiot. I love how these people just hate science. It's just science. They're like, oh my god, it's science. No, it has to be a social construct, because only a social construct can agree with their anti-scientific ideology, as it figures. Miles is not a girl. They identify as trans, masculine, non-binary. How does that even make any sense? So they do identify as trans. Miles is not a girl. You are the most offensive person I've ever heard. Okay, that might be a troll, because that's just too idiotic. But regardless, that's hilarious. I'm just the most offensive person ever, I guess. Moving on. You don't show your face for a reason. You aren't helping anyone. You're harassing people who've done nothing wrong. Disgusting. I may not like Ash or Jake because they've become tools, but Ash is extremely smart, and Jake, being a trans guy who is also non-binary, is valid. No, because you cannot be a trans guy and non-binary at the same time. That makes no sense. Trans is an umbrella term. No, it's not, because you can either be a trans man or a trans woman. There's nothing else besides that. Gender has been a social construct for decades. How can it not be a social construct and then become a social construct? That makes no sense. There is literally no point to your video. Just like Blair White, you cater to the lowest common denominator. Okay, first of all, I don't really mind being compared to Blair White. I disagree with her on several things, but only like a few things. I agree with her on the majority of her points. But how am I catering to the lowest common denominator? I'm actually using logic and reason in most of my videos, or at least I like to hope that I am. How am I? I'm not trying to cater to people's feelings, unlike most of the videos talk about trans topics do. There's nothing cute about being a bigot. How am I being a bigot? Just because you can't comprehend people identifying outside the binary doesn't make it Narnia. No, but you know what does? The fact that there's no evidence for it. Also, Callie's working on putting non-binary as an option of gender status. Well, just because it's trying to be put as a legal status doesn't mean that there's any evidence behind it, because there's no evidence behind it at the moment. Try contributing something positive to society. Well, I'm trying to show that there's no evidence behind this crazy ideology. So, I really don't get what these people are trying to say here. How about you destroy Ash face to face? Because I would bet my family's house on it that you'd lose. I wouldn't go that far, buddy, but I would like to debate Ash face-to-face. Because that would be nice. I mean, she does seem like a nice person. And it would be cool to debate her, actually. Miles has this for you, or else they wouldn't be wearing a binder. There are people different than you. Get over it and get a hobby that isn't harassing innocent people. Well, guess what? They appropriate the experiences of real trans people, so that wouldn't be innocent. Also, I know plenty of people claim to be non-binary in real life who only wear binders to prove they are non-binary. Like, literally, they only wear binders at certain times when they particularly want to prove that they're non-binary. They're not consistent about it at all. So that's unfortunately not really evidence that Miles has dysphoria. Okay, so I did a screenshot of my conversation with this person because I wanted to give context for this. How does it even affect you on how they express themselves? It is not about how she expresses herself. This is about Miles, by the way. It's about the fact that she's claiming to be trans because of it. It's they, not she. They get so butthurt over pronouns. It's like these people present as female, so why do they get so butthurt over the pronouns that you call them? it makes more sense to call them female. It's about them expressing themselves because they're expressing their gender, the same as saying, I'm gay. That is expressing, convey a thought or feeling in words by gestures and conduct. Yeah, which would be like gender expression, which is all these non-binary things really are. And of course, they have to go to the dictionary definition. Funny how you don't use the dictionary definition for racism, but that's an entirely different point. But how does that make her trans? Being transgender means having a medical condition that involves having gender dysphoria. Transgender, of course, I have to go to the dictionary definition again. Denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex. By Google, the term transgender is practically an umbrella term for all of the people whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex, which is the same for non-binary. I should know because I am. The way it makes them trans is most likely because they don't feel comfortable in their body, so they can change that. How do they change it? There's no way to transition to non-binary. By them saying they're non-binary does not mean that they are not trans. So then I say, so feeling a certain way and adopting a vague label is the same thing as having a medical condition, which is backed up by decades of medical research. Yep, totally makes sense to put them in the same category. So yeah, the stupid sociological definition, like, they just don't identify a certain way. It doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense to define transgenderism in a very clear-cut way as a medical condition, because it doesn't make sense to lump in people who simply identify a certain way with people who are actually medically transitioned. Finally, there's this comment, which I think is just a troll, and it doesn't really make any sense, but I thought I'd just include it in. So this was a very recent comment on my response to Miles, which I got a lot of hate on. Most of these hate comments are from that. You need shot, cunt. I guess he's saying I need to get shot, okay? So yeah, that was some of my hate comments. Most of them, I think, were in response to the Miles video, but some of them were also in response to my responses to Ash and Jake, because those people seem to have a lot of fans, and those videos got disliked a lot. But yeah, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.